Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for tuning in to my weekly guitar blog. It's August 12th, 2012. And this time around, we're going to discuss minor scales. It's all due to a question that was emailed to me from Aimee in Oakland, California. Aimee wrote in saying, I'm new to scales and have been practicing my major scales across the neck using your 5-pattern system. My question is regarding moving on to minor scales. I've read that the minors are more complex than the majors. Can you explain parallel, relative, and pure minor scale concepts? All these terms are a little bit overwhelming for me. Hope you can help. I'd like to work as a musician one day. From Aimee in Oakland, California. Well, thanks for writing in, Aimee. The minor scales are sometimes a little confusing at first, but if you have yourself submerged already in the minor scales, it's only a matter of learning a few basic concepts and a few musical terms so that the minors make the same amount of sense as the majors. So let's begin by learning the music theory portion of minor scale theory. We'll begin with the major scale. Because the minor scale is drawn from the major scale, it's very important to understand where everything backtracks from. Now, we're going to look at the major scale off the root of C, and you can see here we take it from a C note up a whole step to a D note, and then we have another whole step to an E, but at that point there's a half a step between E to F. Then we have another full step, F to G, G to A to B, and another half a step from B to C. Now, quite commonly how you'll see this laid out is they'll call it out as tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Sometimes they'll replace the word tone with the word full, or sometimes you might see whole. They'll have it laid out as whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Regardless of how it's done, it's really important to understand this because this is what's referred to as the major scale formula, and it's the basis of how all the intervals come together to form the quality of major. And more specifically, it's these first three notes here. So in this case, we have two whole steps or two tones that come up from a C and take us to an E natural, and that is giving us a color that is major. So always look for that in your scales. If you have two whole steps coming up over to a major third from the root note over to the third degree pitch, then you've got a scale which is of the major scale quality or major quality type. The tonality is major. Let's move next over to the world of a minor scale and just get you to come together on how the major scale is the basis, and from that we develop minor from it. So let's move there next. So now here we are at the natural minor scale, sometimes also called the Aeolian mode. It is the minor mode of the major scale. So when we're looking at this particular root of C, we could view it as either running parallel with the C major scale, which would give us this particular formula down here. So if you were to take a C major scale and you were to lower the third, the 6, and the 7, you would generate a C minor scale from that. Now, the other way to look at it is by way of the world of relative scales. Now, in this case, the third degree here, the E flat, is our old major scale root. Now, minor scales are built from the 6th step of a major scale. So if we were to count up, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, C as a natural tone is the 6th note of an E flat major scale, giving us now the C natural minor scale. So C Aeolian mode is the 6th mode of an E flat major scale. And this is the difference in the way that we would look at things in terms of how you saw we analyzed the major scale initially. We were looking and we were heavily focused upon interval distances, and we did that stuff with the major scale formula, the tone, tone, semitone, and all that. And there's nothing wrong with, of course, doing that with this scale as well. You can see here we have a tone, and then we have a semitone, and then a tone, and then a semitone, and then two more tones taking us to the octave. So if we were to go back to that scale formula system, in this case it would be called the natural minor scale formula, we would have tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. Now, this information is really important overall, both the way that we had seen it in terms of the relative and the parallel root examples just a moment ago, as well as how we were just breaking things apart in terms of the tones and semitones here with the scale formula system. It's very important to understand all of this, not just for how individual tones move one to the next and create these colors of tonality, but also later on when we would take the scale to build chords out of it and of course begin harmonizing the steps, and that's important for the construction of chord progressions. So all this information can be a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but once you start making sense of it and you're able to see the various views of how we're chopping this up to do the analysis, it's very beneficial. So let's move next to taking a look at how some of this information translates over to the guitar neck. Now when we move on to the fretboard examples, in example number 1 I have a 6-string root A. It's a natural minor scale that we're going to cover, and I tend to always show this one to my students as the first pattern layout of minor scale on the fingerboard. So here's what this particular pattern sounds like in 2 octaves. Now in example number 2, I have the 2nd scale pattern that I normally show to my students, and this pattern begins off of the 5th string. It's in the key of A minor as well, and it can be found at the 12th fret position. It goes like this. So if you want to begin with those two when you move along to your minor scale patterns, those are 2 excellent ones to start with. In example number 3, though, I'm going to shift gears a little bit here. I'm going to demonstrate 2 versions of the very important minor third interval, shown first of all off of the 6th string. So we're doing it in A from 5th fret to 8th fret, and we're also going to cross over and play that unison shape. So we're going to move between the 6th string and the 5th string, heading to 3rd fret there. Now you want to get used to what these look like. Also another one is located up here at the 12th fret, where if we're moving to 5th string root, 12th to 15th, and then 12th to 10th when you cross over to 4th string for the unison note there. And then of course you want to carry on and understand what it looks like again off the 4th string. That would be 7th to 10th off of the root of A, and then 7th to 5th when you cross over from 4th string to the 3rd string. Now there are 2 versions, like I said, with the crossover as well as the same string. One stays put on the same string with the other one crossing over to operate against the next adjacent one. And these 2 interval patterns on the neck are very important because they are the quality defining shapes of the minor color. And once they become well known, they will always quickly tune your ears and your eyes into the minor tonality, whenever you're playing scales, licks, riffs, and even chords as well. Well, as we've seen, the minor scales are defined by a specific interval from the tonic of the scale to the scale's 3rd degree. This distance creates the overall color of the scale sound, and this principle holds within it the application of the minor scale. And application has a lot to do with the way we analyze the notes involved within the minor scale's construction. This means we could analyze the notes compared to the relative major scale, or we could analyze the notes as compared to the parallel major. This dual purpose of our analysis is very helpful down the road for work that we'll do later on when we compose chord progressions and then apply a melodic concept around the harmonies that we write. Also, this is seriously helpful theory if you perhaps one day want to spend any time composing songs as an element of a possible future music career. Anyway, once again, that's about all the time I have for today. And as always, I hope these explanations help you. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.